First command, you shall have no gods before me, for I am the Lord your God. Command number 2, do not make any images or idols that are supposed to represent me. Number 3, do not misuse my name. Do not take it in vain. Number 4, remember the Sabbath day, the seventh day, and keep it holy. You know what's fascinating about those 4 commandments? Make sure that I am actually the God of your life. Don't diminish me by trying to think I can be captured by some object or image. Don't ever disrespect me by doing something as trivial as flippantly using my name. And arrange your life around me so much that you'll take time out from commerce and making money to make sure that I am kept central in your life. Those are the first 4 commands. Then then a turn happens. Then it says things like this. Honor your father and your mother. The capstone of families living in harmony with each other. Don't murder. Don't commit adultery. Don't steal. Don't lie or give false testimony against your neighbor. Don't covet other stuff that your neighbor has. Be content with what you have. The 10 Commandments teach us something. Unless we are first in sync with the heart of God, we can never then live appropriately in relationship to others. First it's the God deal, then it's the others deal. It's almost like Jesus said, first love God, and then love neighbor. And if you don't do this, you'll always struggle with that. And for us to think somehow if we get the right candidates with the right platforms and the right laws and the right judges, that suddenly this country is going to live under the laws of God is historically naive and biblically unfounded. Do you know what actually matters? What actually matters is you and I working desperately, doing everything we can to help people become connected to God and in sync with God so their hearts can change. Then they live out the laws of God. It doesn't even matter what the laws of the land are. It doesn't even matter who's in political power. And when that happens with enough people, a culture is transformed. The early disciples in the early church lived under absolute totalitarian government. Rome ruled. The Caesar was God in the flesh. And in the space of about 5 generations, there was such a governmental shift that Rome actually declared Christianity to be the official religion of the empire. Think about that. They went from feeding Christians to lions, impaling them on stakes, covering them with pitch to light their gardens at night, blaming them for every ill on society. They went from doing that to Christians to saying, this Christianity thing is really the best way to go. And it did not happen because the followers of Jesus decided to take political action. It's because the followers of Jesus decided they were going to live their lives to reconnect human beings to the God who made them and loved them, so that their hearts could also get in sync with God, and then the laws of God would just be lived out on the grassroots of life, and that would transform cultures, families, and nations. And nothing's changed, my friends. It still works the same, dude. There is nothing that ever happens in a ballot box will be nearly as important as what happens in the church of God and the hearts of the people of God as they decide that they're going to love people, and they're going to reveal the love of God to those people in the way they serve them, and they're going to just simply share the difference that He can make in their lives so that they can open their hearts and believe and be rescued and become in sync with God. There is nothing more important than that. Nothing. And the reason Jesus didn't model a political thing, and the reason He warned us against it, is because don't be seduced into thinking somehow you can do the outside things that'll work. You keep expanding my kingdom. You be the body. And everything changes. See, that's where the real battle is. It's not in the courts. It's not in the laws. It's not in the Senate. It's not in the House. It's not in the White House. Is for the hearts of human beings. And a God who wants to reclaim and redeem and put in sync and give life. There's something, I have so much more I want to say. But I have a third point I really ought to get to. Here's a third thing I think we can know for sure that Jesus would do. I think Jesus would pray for whoever is elected. And I don't think his prayers would sound like this. Oh God, kill that person in office! In fact, he kind of let us know. I urge you, first of all, to pray for all people. Ask God to help them, intercede on their behalf, and give thanks for them. A way to give thanks for all people. He couldn't have meant that. I'm sorry, I'll go back to the outline and reinterpret that verse. It has to be something else, right? You can't give thanks for all people. Man, the Bible is an irritating book. Pray this way for kings and all who are in authority, so that we can live peacefully and quiet lives marked by godliness and dignity. This is good and pleases God our Savior. Pray for them, pray for their hearts, pray for their decision. Pray that if they don't know God, they might come to know God. Pray for them. See, here's the deal. Ultimately speaking, it's a human being and their heart and the God of heaven. And pray that somehow that whole thing just works right. Proverbs 21 and verse 1 says, the heart of the king is in the hand of the Lord, like the rivers of water. He turns it wherever he wishes. There was an absolute tyrannical despot whose name was Nebuchadnezzar. And he was proud and he was arrogant. He trounced over the people of God. He did whatever he pleased. But he had an encounter with the God of heaven, and he was humbled and ended up turning to God and believing in him. And the course of a whole entire nation was changed. Nothing's different. It's about people and their hearts and being a sin with God. And we need to pray. See, here's the deal. There is a battle for the soul of our nation. Always has been, always will be. There's a battle for the soul of every nation on the face of the earth today. Always has been, always will be. Because ultimately speaking, this isn't about this nation and that nation and this government and that government and this ruler and that ruler. It's about the kingdom of light and the kingdom of dark and eternity. And everything else is secondary. It is. And there is not one more powerful thing we can do than pray. Pray, pray, pray. Pray and go be the body. Pray and go be the body. And if that sounds like code to you, get the tape from last week. Or, it's 2008. Download the MP3 from the internet. Pray and be the body. Pray and be the body. Because that's where any hope is found in actually seeing radical cultural change happen. Where the laws of God, like we all want, can actually be lived out in the body. You know what else? There's a battle for the soul of Prayer Chapel. Always has been. Always will be. And will we be a religion? Or will we live in the spirit of the Jesus Revolution? Because there's a battle for the soul of this country, because there is a battle for the soul of this church. We're going to do something starting next week. When we start to pray. Like we never prayed before. We're going to talk about prayer. We're going to encourage you to pray. We're going to give you some direction if you want it to help you pray and learn how to pray. We're going to suspend every other decision and every other thing, and we're going to take at least one solid month, and we're going to learn how to do one thing a little bit better, and that's to get a hold of the God of heaven and ask him to work on behalf of the hearts of human beings and to expand his kingdom in the hearts of men and women and students and children. And have a feeling of living that with at least somewhat of a sincere heart. Everything could change. Starting with us. In our church. In our country. That's what lies ahead. Be a responsible citizen. Go vote your conscience as best you know how. But don't put your hope in the outcome of some election. Vote Jesus 08. Put your hope in him. Feel free to grab a button on your way out and wear it proudly. Because he's the hope of our nation, and of our family, and of our lives, and of our